So Greek from Montreal.
Everything in my world just crumbled down, and I was kind of lost.
Yeah.
I needed to heal.
Very hot, very humid, and a lot of bugs. It's the people, the weather, the culture, everything. It's very welcoming.
I think that's one of the main reasons that brought me here to Vilcabamba. It was something really magical.
It attracts a lot of people who are on a healing journey of one kind or another. And then there's all these healers here.
It was a little overwhelming at the beginning in the US. It was already shocking, the cultural change.
So if I decide to ever have kids, probably be in Vilcabamba.
I noticed immediately that Vilcabamba was something totally different. I never seen this in Ecuador before.
The church always on Sundays being full of people, and the weather for people that don't know is amazing. At night, you go sleep very comfortably. During the day, it gets hot, but it's not humid.
Easy things work for you if you really have a vision. I've met the most amazing people around here. There is community here, and that's something that I always thought.
It doesn't hurt that the food's really good either.
You never feel judged by nobody. You can dress however you like. You can walk around, do grounding.
It didn't take long for me to get accustomed to here. I was looking for a place like this, which is not on the grid, not everybody's attached to their phone.
The help that we've been getting from the community around here, it's what actually made this thing actually possible. It's like a world community, you have everybody from every unimaginable place. So if something doesn't work for you, you can go and try something else, and until finally you find something that resonates with you.
You've got all these people who really do have good hearts and the right intentions, and everyone's kind of playing their role or adding their piece.
There's something always happening in Vilcabamba. Even if you're not aware of it, we're gonna have a language exchange happening on Thursdays. Our success is gonna be the success of everybody. The only way to do it is working as a community.
Ecuador in particular ticked off a lot of boxes. Weather-wise, location-wise, and being able to grow fruit.
So for me, it was difficult to make the decision because I have to let go of many things. I had a whole life. When I came here, I feel that I don't have that emptiness anymore. I feel whole, I feel happy. The reasons that I came here, the reasons that made me stay here is exactly.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Jesse, joined today by Izzy and Daniel. Guys, I think this is gonna be a fun one. This is kind of a little bit of a mix actually between expat profiles and professional spotlight. We're here at Sol Bistro, or Sol Bistro. These guys, brand new restaurant here in Vilcabamba, opened just a few weeks. Really one of the great restaurants we have here in town. I've eaten here sort of an embarrassingly frequent number of times since these guys have opened. Really some amazing food. Very cool story about how these guys came together, opened the restaurant, where they're from, how they found Vilcabamba, etc. So we're gonna tell that story today, guys. Thanks for taking the time. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's start with the Canadian route. So give us a little background on just kind of where you're from, what you were up to prior to. Obviously you're a chef, but give us a little bit of background on that and how you discovered, Ecuador and ended up in Vilcabamba.
So Greek from Montreal. I grew up in Athens and in Montreal. Most of my life in Montreal, and worked in the restaurant industry and food service industry. And then after a few years, after the pandemic, friends bought some land in Ecuador in the jungle. I came to the jungle, very hot, a lot of bugs, beautiful. And then just going around, traveling around Ecuador, people were telling me also about Vilcabamba in Montreal. We're like, oh, Vilcabamba, what is that? And then, I came here, and that's why they call it Vilcabamba.
Right, which I first heard from you, by the way. It's a great term, Vilcabamba. Let me ask you, what motivated your decision to leave Canada? Was it just adventure and exploring, or was there some motivation? Why did you decide to Canada, Ecuador?
There's a whole world to explore, and prior to coming here, I was looking around, and Ecuador in particular ticked off a lot of boxes, weather-wise, location-wise, and being able to grow fruit, and pretty much that's it.
So you spent a little time in what part of the Amazon?
In Zamora, Chinchipe area. Yeah.
Okay. How far from here?
It's about 5 hours.
Where you were about 5 hours.
Yeah.
So pretty deep into the province. Okay, and hot, humid bugs, basically, you were saying.
Very hot, very humid, and a lot of bugs.
Yeah, where you were anyway. It's not all like that. Not all the Amazon.
No, but where I was, it was.
Where you were. Yeah. All right.
Get used to it, but you don't get used to it at the same time too.
Right. What? How long were you there for?
2 months.
2 months. Okay, and then Vilcabamba for how long since?
About 3 months, and then went around Cuenca, Loja.
Okay.
Then worked my way to Vilcabamba.
Okay, so 3 months traveling, or 3 months in Vilcabamba, and then
3 months in Vilcabamba, and going back and forth between Vilcabamba and the jungle.
Oh, in the jungle. Got it. And then how long have you been settled in Vilcabamba?
Since January.
Since January. So we're in May, so
About 4 months.
my math is not good, but thank you for saving me about 4 months. All right, very cool.
Feels longer though.
Does it?
Yeah, it feels like I've been in Ecuador for like a few years.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. The time goes by here very slow.
Right, it's a different pace for sure.
And you get comfortable very fast. I don't know. It's the people, the weather, the culture, everything. It's very welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, not for everyone, right? It's like some people come here and they feel that way. And other people come here and they're like, nope, this isn't for me. But for those that feel that way, I think that's really powerful.
Well, I am where I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, so you've got interesting story as well. You're originally from Ecuador, lived in the States, now you're in Vilcabamba, met this crazy, I was going to say Canadian, but it's really Greek-Canadian. And you guys opened this restaurant, so really cool story. Tell us a little bit about, kind of you growing up and how you ended up in the States and back in Ecuador.
Well, when I was a teenager, my mother used to live in the States. She was living in New York, and so I went to the States to live with her, and I went to high school, and I took a part-time job as in a restaurant, and I started working as a pastry chef, helping the pastry chef at the beginning, and then I started to go up.
Just because I'm from New York, I got to know what neighborhood in...
Well, I was living in Queens,
Yeah.
Queens, New York, but I was working in Manhattan, Lexington Avenue.
All right.
Yeah.
Jackson Heights in Queens?
I lived in Jackson Heights for the first years,
Yeah.
and then I moved out, and I was living in Brooklyn, in Greenpoint.
In Greenpoint,
Yeah.
sure. Okay, very cool. And then where in Manhattan were you working?
I was working in Lexington Avenue.
Yeah.
And it was a 3.5-star restaurant. It was called Monkey Bar.
Okay.
And I worked there in the pastry station for a few years. And so in a way, I was always involved in the restaurant business, because after I left the U.S. and I came back to Ecuador, I came just to visit, and I opened up my own restaurant by the coast.
Oh, really?
Machala.
Yeah.
And the Oro province.
Yeah.
And I have my own restaurant. I used to sell Peruvian seafood.
Oh, yeah. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
it was pretty good for a couple of years, and then I sold it. And eventually, because I knew English, I started working for this Canadian company that was doing mining in El Oro province. So I started working for them for a few years, and eventually I became the administrator of their company. And until I got to this point, I've been the type of guy who's always in search of this spirituality.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main reasons that brought me here to Vilcabamba. I came here like 3.5, 4 years ago, invited by a friend of mine who lives here.
Was that Leslie or something?
Leslie, yeah.
She's really cool.
Leslie,
I like her.
La Caracola.
Yeah.
She invited me to it was an ayahuasca ceremony that was happening here. So I went into that ceremony, and after that, my whole world collapsed. And well, it took me like 2 years, 3 years after that I finally came here for the same reasons, after I did this medicine, everything in my world just crumbled down, and I was kind of lost.
Yeah.
I needed to heal.
Yeah.
And so I came for that reason. And when I got here, I just posted in Telegram that I was, I was going to be here for, initially it was going to be a 1 or 2 months kind of stay. I was going to stay for that period. And I ended up working in the sushi. There was a sushi here before. So I started working for the sushi as a manager. And I worked there for probably 8 months until eventually I met Easy. When he came to Vilcabamba, we met in a bar, and we were having a couple of years and talking, and we had a lot in common. We like cooking, we love cooking. We've always been involved in the restaurant business. So at that moment when we met, we talked about doing something together, because he came with the idea of probably staying here. And I was already here like 8 months or something like that. And somehow Vilcatrampa, that's the other word they say. Right. So I ended up staying here for more than a year. And this opportunity came up. And it was something really magical, because we had the idea and we just kind of like placed it in an envelope, and we sent it to Pachamama, and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
And eventually, things started to move. And then he was like going back and forth between the jungle and here, Vilcabamba, until eventually he decided to come here and to settle here for a couple of months. And that's when everything started to happen. Suddenly we found each other's with this place, and we have to create a menu. We have to change the whole theme of the restaurant. So Easy was working pretty hard in the menu. And that's how everything happened. It happened so fast. Sometimes it was a little overwhelming at the beginning, because we didn't know. And we didn't have, we never planned for this, even though we had the idea that we wanted to open up a restaurant together, but we didn't know how. We didn't know how we would want to do it. We were looking for a place to rent. And eventually we got the opportunity, and we are here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a little bit. So, I don't. If you mentioned this and I missed it, I apologize. What part of Ecuador did you grow up in?
Well, I grew up in El Oro, in El Oro province. Yeah.
In
the highlands of El Oro, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was involved in the mining industry, because there's a lot of mining happening back there.
So is that like Zaruma area?
Yeah, around that area. Okay. Actually, the company was based in Zaruma. Uh-huh. It was called Elipe SA. It was a Canadian company. The Canadian branch was called Dynasty Mining and Metals. So they were doing mining here in Ecuador. And now I started working for them as an interpreter for an Australian crew that came to do mining. It was a huge mine. It was a mechanized mine. So I was working for them, and I worked for 5 years with them, and I learned a lot.
So what were, for those of us that haven't been here that long, like myself included, like what was Ecuador like El Oro and Loja province, and El Oro is close to here, obviously we border it. What was it like, in the 80s or before we have experience here?
Well, it's kind of crazy, because I grew up in El Oro. I grew up here in Ecuador until I was like 13. And until I was 13, then I moved to the U.S. It was already shocking, the cultural change, and I had to learn a new language. I have to deal with different kind of people, different kind of culture. And I really loved it. I loved New York. But then when I came back to Ecuador, I had the same cultural shock, because,
How many years were you in New York for?
Somewhere around 10 years.
Okay.
And then I was like going back and forth. I was like going back and forth until I finally met these guys, these Canadian guys that had this company. And then I started working with them. And then I stayed here working for them for many years. And that's how. But
so what were the biggest shocks, either direction? Or the differences, shocks, however you want to answer?
Well, culturally, I think you've experienced them.
Sure.
And for me, as an Ecuadorian, I experienced the same kind of situations. Like, for example, people here like really loud music. They're usually around the cars playing loud music. That's something that you don't see in the U.S. You don't really see it. So yeah, it was pretty shocking. And also, when you're in the restaurant business, when I was like, I don't know, 20 years ago, the restaurant environment wasn't that huge. You know, I think it was just beginning. We had our usual traditional dishes, but Ecuador wasn't like experimenting too much with the other type of food before. And one of the things that I really loved about Vilcabamba, which is like totally different from the rest of Ecuador, because I've been traveling a lot. Like when I was working in the mining industry, I was traveling all around Ecuador. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of places here in Ecuador. And when I came to Vilcabamba, I noticed immediately that Vilcabamba was something totally different. It reminded me a little bit of New York. When I was living in New York back in the 90s, all the culture that is there, all the people that come from all over the world, mm-hmm. from different languages, and you have to deal with different cultures and beliefs and everything, you know. And when I came here to Vilcabamba, it reminded me. It took me back to New York back in the 90s, because it was like the same. You know, I never seen this in Ecuador before.
Right.
Because I've been traveling all over Ecuador, but I never seen something like Vilcabamba.
It's a unique town.
It's a unique town. It is.
Did you grow up in Greece?
When I was young.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until how old?
But around it was 5 years.
Okay.
Like
Do you have memories of it?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Vilcabamba.
Okay. In what way?
Weather, the way the streets are built and the houses, and the people are very friendly. Everybody says hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really one of that stuff is some of my favorite things about.
Very, also the church always on Sundays being full of people, and the square, kids running around, yeah, no phones on them.
Right. All right, very cool. So you guys have been in business here at the restaurant now how long?
Since April 22nd, so it's about 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks, yeah. Okay. So how's it going so far?
Good.
Yeah, it's a unique. Talk to us a little bit about the concept, because it's kind of a unique concept to food here in Vilcabamba.
Well, my background in cooking is North American, mostly Montreal style food, Greek, Mediterranean, and looking around the restaurants, trying to get something a bit different, but also keep the Ecuadorian taste inside. So it's a mix of Ecuadorian food, Greek, Italian, Mediterranean, and we have a changing menu too. So it's a world bistro, so we could do cuisine from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly Greek, Ecuadorian. So we have fried tilapia, encebollado, ceviche.
Yeah.
Then we have souvlaki. We have banh mi, which is from Vietnam. We have fish and chip, which is from Britain. So it's a bit of everyone.
Yeah, and I know you were telling me a couple of weeks ago, you know, you're kind of filling in the gaps a little bit in terms of what Vilcabamba doesn't have.
Yeah.
And I think you've done a great job at that. Because it's interesting here, like, we live in this tiny little town in the Southern Andes, and yet we have restaurants with food from all over the world. A lot of it's really high quality.
It is.
But there's some things that we're missing for sure. So there's less of those now with you guys in business, which is awesome. Okay, so let's see. So let's jump back a little bit to, you know, kind of the spiritual side. So you mentioned you came, you know, sort of seeking a plant medicine ceremony. I don't know if you were sort of, you know, seeking spirituality in any way or not, kind of coming to Ecuador and finding.
Like I said before, I am where I want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm aligned in that way.
Yeah.
I'm content in being in Vilcabamba, and I am where I want to be and where I'm supposed to be, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
for medicine, I haven't done it yet, but there's still enough time for
that. Sure. Okay, so yeah, I mean, listen, for anyone to be able to say that is, you know, just that you are where you want to be is a good place to be in life, for sure. Okay, so then talk to me a little bit about the town. What are your guys', you know, sort of favorite things, least favorite things about this place? Like, for people who are watching, like, what is this town all about?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Putting you on the spot. All right, well, let's start. Well, let's just say like some of your favorite things we can start with about, you know, about life here or just about the town in general.
You know, like I say, the reasons that I came here the reasons that made me stay here is exactly the cultural exchange that you have here, you know, and especially in restaurants, you have a lot of options. You have vegetarian food, you have raw vegan, you have Indian food, you have all types of cuisine in Vilcabamba. And it's amazing. It's a small town, but it has so many restaurants and so many options. It was kind of difficult at the beginning when we met what we wanted to do, like when we thought about creating a menu. What would it be? You know, we had an idea, but like what he said, we were trying to fill in the gaps of what was missing here, so we could actually do something with it. But also, we wanted to keep a little bit of the Ecuadorian, because we also want to attract the locals, the Lojanos, into the restaurant. So it was a little challenging to come up with the menu, but we did it. We did it. And that's one of the things I love about Vilcabamba, how easy things work for you if you really have a vision, a clear vision or a clear goal of what you want to do, where you want to be. And if you detach yourself from whatever happens and just trust in the process, a lot of amazing things can happen. And that's one of the things that I love Vilcabamba. Besides that, you know, you have the most beautiful rainbows. You have rainbows almost every day around here.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah, you guys have that angle as well. So.
Yeah, like yesterday we had a double rainbow
Yeah.
back there, and it was amazing.
This is the only place I've ever seen rainbows where sometimes you can see the beginning and the end.
Yes, I know.
I've never found the pot of gold, but...
Yeah, yeah, me neither. You know, I was working in the mining business, so I was always in search of gold.
Right.
I'm always looking at the rainbows and I'm thinking to myself, there might be gold over there. But, you know, I'm all over that. Yeah. And, you know, I also like the fact that so many cultures around here, and I've seen the most amazing people. I've met the most amazing people around here from all over, and the most weird instruments that I've seen around here playing most of the restaurants and bars that are, and that's something that I like too, you know, because before I came here to Vilcabamba, I used to have a small fast food restaurant, and when I had my restaurant, I used to hire musicians to play like once or twice a week. And when I came to Vilcabamba, I saw that the same thing was happening. Every restaurant, usually here, they usually hire musicians. They're always playing. And you have so many variety of people playing so many different music. That's amazing, you know, to connect with people from all over the world. It's amazing. That's really, I think that, and also, to finish, I think that Vilcabamba, I don't know if I'm saying the word right, utopia,
Utopia, yep.
Yeah. I think that Vilcabamba is one of those things. You know, it's, the community here is so tight.
Yeah.
You know, there is community here, you know, and that's something that I always thought that is really important for humanity, because humanity has to eventually evolve or transcend all of these things that are keeping us, like, you know what's happening around the world, the climate change, how the rivers are being poisoned, and, you know, we need to eventually change our mindset and start having this more harmonious life with Pachamama. Mm-hmm. And living here in Vilcabamba has really brought me to actually get in contact with nature. I'll go to the rivers or at least every day I try to go to rivers. I go hiking up in the mountains, and you have the most amazing views, and you really get to connect with nature. And that's something really amazing, you know, and that's, and the community around here and the people around here are so loving, and people are so free, you know, and you never feel judged by nobody. You can dress however you like. You can walk around, like, do grounding without shoes. You can do anything, and people are still going to be friendly with you. It doesn't matter where you come from, how you look like, how you dressed, or anything. You know, people here is amazing. There's so much love, and that's one of the things I like, you know. I think that this town can actually be an example for many other towns around where actually community actually works. This utopia actually exists, it's doable. We can do it. So that's one of the things I like about Vilcabamba.
Wow, very beautifully said, very well said.
Thanks.
And you certainly covered the things for me personally too that I really love about this place. So
we are, and that's good.
Yeah.
We have the same.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you were kind of mentioning in the beginning, sort of, you didn't use this word, but sort of like the synchronicities that can happen, in Vilcabamba.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a lot of synchronicities actually happening for us. To create this space, and there were so many people, like for example the frames we have around here. He just Mauro, he donated this frame to us, and he was like, okay guys, I'm gonna help you, and he helped us with designing the logo. He was helping us design the menus while he was working in the menu itself, and and everything. Everybody was coming here helping us. They were donating, like the plants you see around here. So most of them has been given to us. Everybody is being so kind, and like you always trying to help us out, coming here with your friends and your families, and spreading the word, and that's amazing. That's the feedback and the help that we've been getting from the community around here. It's what actually made this thing actually possible. The community, the whole town, everybody here, even our customers, everybody that comes here, it's always helpful. So I'm really, really, really thankful being here in this moment and being able to share this with EC, with you, and with everybody around here. Vilcabamba is amazing. People should come here and should experience this. And once you experience this, wherever you go in the world, you're gonna take that, that light, and you're gonna spread it. This needs to be spread.
I want to clap right now. I'm filling my heart listening to you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
What about you, Izzy? What do you make of this place? What does this place mean to you?
It's like a painting.
Yeah.
That's what it is, like a painting. The mountains everywhere you go, the fresh air, the water, the food, the people, the different cultures, the street art, the music. Great place to listen to live music. You have Vilca Garden that gives chance to a lot of local artists to be heard and seen, which is very good. And I am where I want to be. That's the easiest way I could put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about, it doesn't sound like you guys are in this vibe at all, but it's like, are there difficult adjustments that you guys have had to make, coming from Canada, coming from back from New York or other places in Ecuador, like difficult adjustments, or has it all just been kind of rolling with the punches, synchronicities, letting it happen?
Harder to adjust to the weather and the environment in the jungle than here. Here, the weather, for people that don't know, is amazing. At night, you go sleep very comfortably. During the day, it gets hot, but it's not humid, so you could live very comfortably here.
Yeah.
Besides that, no, Vilcabamba, it's great.
What, Izzy, if you would, talk to me a little bit about, because it is such a different vibe here than Canada. Maybe there's places in Canada super rural, maybe that, might be similar in some ways. I don't really know. But in general, it's such a different vibe, different lifestyle, obviously very different culture. Talk to me a little bit about, and if you want to approach it from a more feeling standpoint, that's fine too. What does it feel like to live there versus living here? What are the culture there versus here? Can you sort of describe any of that?
Well, it depends where you live in. If you live in the big city in Montreal, it's like a big city anywhere. It's very individualistic. There's no sense. There is community, but you're very closed off from everybody. It's not like here where people you don't know at all just say hi.
Right.
So it's a very welcoming. It's also very kid-friendly too. We have to also see that as very kid-friendly. So if I decide to ever have kids, probably be in Vilcabamba. Montreal?
Yeah.
No. Not for me. For other people, yeah, but for me, no. I like it. It didn't take long for me to get accustomed to here. I was looking for a place like this, which is not on the grid. Not everybody's attached to their phones. That's another thing. You see people here, they're not attached. They're not stuck to their phones like in most places, which is very important, especially for the kids too.
Yeah.
They go out, they play.
Yeah, no, I mean, my kids are growing up kind of how I grew up, which is not how the kids grew up anymore. You know, it's like they're out and they're doing all day, every day. And, you know, there's no TV, there's no video games, there's nothing.
Tablet generation.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. It's very, you know, gratifying for me to see them doing some of that stuff, the nature, the streams, you know, the connecting with the earth in that kind of way. And like you said, the community. I mean, just to see, you know, just when anything happens in the community, the way people come together and step up and help each other out, and how that also crosses cultural borders in terms of it's not just the Ecuadorian community or just the expat community, it's like the community, you know, that's doing that.
It's like a world community, you know, you have everybody from every inimaginable place, you know. And also, you know, what I really love about here is how everybody is so loving and so caring, and the community is something that amazes me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, they've done studies on, I think they call them like blue zones or something like that, where people live to be, you know, older than other places. As we have, I think it is a garbage truck. People live to be, you know, older than normal. And one of the main components of that is community.
Yeah.
It's like people need to feel that sense of community to be happy and whole and fulfilled and healthy, and which is probably lacking in most of the world.
It also amazes me, you know what? How much therapies and disciplines you can find here. You can find yoga, you can find salsa, you can find anything that you can imagine. And when it comes to therapies or medicine, you can find it here. And it's like before, maybe you needed to go to India to learn about yoga, or you needed to go to Tibet, or maybe to somewhere in Europe. But here you have everything. You have people actually coming from all over the world to share their medicine, to share their knowledge. And it's so accessible. And another thing that I like about here is like, you take money out of the picture, because if you don't have money to pay for a therapy, you can always do some exchange. You know, you can, and that's something that I love. And that's something that we also need to start promoting more, you know, because it's not always everything about money, you know. So that's one of the things that I also love over here. It's so diverse and so rich with so many cultures and so many disciplines that you can learn, so many therapies that you can go to. If something doesn't work for you, you can go and try something else, and until finally you find something that resonates with you, and you just go along with it. And that's what actually happened with me. You know, I came here and like by doing medicine, and then I started practicing yoga, and that's how I really connected with yoga. I connected with yoga in a different way that actually helped me in this journey that I came here. I didn't know what was going to happen when I came here, and I ended up opening a restaurant together with Easy. And wow, it all happened so fast. And like I say, I feel so overwhelmed because people like you and all the people that have come here, they're always congratulating us and telling us that they are going to support us, and they're going to be, and they have been coming back 2-3 times a week. And that's been really amazing. The support that we've been receiving from people, wow, it's been amazing. Really overwhelming.
Well, it doesn't hurt that the food's really good either.
It doesn't. We have a great chef. We have good service, which is also
and great cocktails.
Great cocktails.
He's a good cocktail maker, so it doesn't say about it, but he makes very good drinks. I base drinks on Long Island iced tea, Manhattan, and the old fashioned, and the Long Island iced tea, he hit it right on the nail.
Nice. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things too about this town is the diverseness is not the right word. The plethora is not right exactly either, but just the amount of healing modalities, healers, like health practitioners that are here. I mean, it's almost, I don't know that there's a modality you can think of that exists that there isn't someone who knows about or is actively practicing, and often at a very high level,
Yeah.
you know, here in Vilcabamba. So, and it's like, yeah, I think, you know, you kind of mentioned it's sort of, I mean, you use the word utopia. I would probably use a different one, but that we'll use that. You know, sort of Vilcabamba being kind of a, you know, a place where sort of an example can be set for, you know, for a way to live or for a community or things like that. And so it attracts a lot of people who are on a healing journey of one kind or another. And then there's all these healers here, you know, who
That's amazing.
you know, yeah, it's really an incredible thing. And then also, you know, you guys are mentioning the support you're getting, you know, with this place. And that's the thing, right? A lot of people here do need to make a living, and there's a lot of cottage industry in Vilcabamba. Like, there's a lot of folks who either make their living, you know, teaching some kind of practice or healing, or, you know, working in the healing modalities, or owning a restaurant, or producing products like, you know, just sort of cottage industry products. And that makes up a large part of the economy, really, of this town. And it's cool because it makes, for people like me who want to buy that stuff and see the healers and eat at the restaurants, it's great because I get to have things that wouldn't be available otherwise. And then for the folks who are, you know, producing or, you know, in those businesses, we have to support them, right? So that the whole thing works and people can earn a living and you know, fulfill their lives in that way. So yeah, it's really a cool kind of thing here.
To be such a small town and have that variety.
Yeah.
For kids, for example, they can learn English at the library for free. They have a lot of activities for kids, not only for kids, for adults as well. There's something always happening in Vilcabamba, even if you're not aware of it, but there's always something happening around it. And that's really amazing. Yeah. It's just a matter of, no, I think that Vilcabamba should have a magazine. I don't know if you remember that magazine in the US was called Time Out. Where they used
Time Out in New York.
Yeah, they used to publish everything that was happening around town, or like the Village Boys.
Yeah.
Something like that could actually work here, you know, where you can
totally
put everything that is happening, because many people come here and they don't know what's happening around. They don't know what's happening. And people actually, when they come, like just passing by or on vacation, whatever, they missed a lot of things.
Yeah.
If they stay just for a month or two. For somebody like me that comes here and stays, or like you that have stayed for such a long time, you can actually discover everything that is happening around here. But for somebody that is just passing by, even we've been having that problem that to reach out to people, you know, what we're offering, not only as food, but talking about the whole community, what the whole community can offer, you know.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be, I think it's working actually fine, but it can be.
Yeah, that would be great. If someone would organize that, that would be awesome. No, I feel like, to your point, there's like levels or layers to Vilcabamba. Like, I'm still discovering things.
And how long you been here for?
I mean, I've been in Ecuador 11 years, not
11.
Vilcabamba that whole time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I discovered, you know, a couple of months ago this La Cascada Escondida, like this waterfall that's only like 30 minutes walking. I had no idea that was there at all until recently. And I feel like even just with events, with people, with different things that are available here, it almost kind of, you discover it as you're ready for it, kind of, in a certain way.
Yeah,
it's like,
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, there's like, you know, there's layers here. You know, there's the guys like sitting around the park, hanging out, drinking, and that's like a layer. And then there's, you know, you keep going, and there's some wild, far out, esoteric stuff going on that you can discover. And there's all kinds of ceremonies and different things going on. It's like, you know, it's a unique place.
This is like a vortex, yeah. Everything is happening here.
Right. It kind of feels that way. Yeah.
It does. It's really, the energy in this place is so amazing.
No.
Wow, it's very creative. We just talked about it, you know, a couple of weeks ago, how everything happened for us like so easily, you know, and wow, I have no words to express it. You know, how amazing this journey has been for me. And to be able to share with a guy like Easy, one of the things that I knew, because, we met just 3-4 months ago, a little bit more longer than that, but we actually started working like when a couple of months ago, right? 2-3 months ago. And when you don't know somebody, there's always going to be this gap. But it's been pretty amazing. And I noticed how he does things with love. He cooks with love. And that's when I said, okay, this is going to work. Because when you do what you love, success is assured.
There's a lot of gems in this interview, by the way. We're getting a lot of gems in this interview. All right. Anything I haven't covered that you guys want to talk about?
Well, yeah, and I want to share that as we have pretty good ideas that we're gonna be introducing in the restaurant. We're gonna have a language exchange happening on Thursdays. We're gonna have guest chefs coming in like next week. And this week we're gonna have guest chefs who are gonna be making raw food, vegan food, and we always gonna have that guest chefs so they can come here and actually prepare their own meals and offer to the community.
Awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, we have a pretty good ideas that we want to crystallize. I know Vilcabamba has the power to do that, so I think we are just putting our heart into it and make it work. And with people like you and the community that's going to be probably listening to us, we can make it happen. I think we made a ceremony when the inauguration day, and we kind of like offer this restaurant to Pachamama and to the community here. So our idea is our success is going to be the success of everybody, because we think in terms of the whole community. Yep. It's not just us. It's not about us anymore. It's about the whole community. It's the whole of Vilcabamba. We are in this together, and I really love that we can accomplish that in here. It's really amazing.
I mean, each human has to have that attitude and that understanding for this to be the world we want to live in, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's community. It's sharing. We're in this together. It's not. We've been living like in a rat race, like who makes it first, everybody wants to be successful and to whatever end, and that's not really the question. We have to work as a community. We have to work together. We have to help each other. It's not like I'm gonna be successful and not him or not you. Everybody has to be successful. Everybody has to make it in one way or another. We have different speeds. Some are faster, some are slower, but we all have to get there. And the only way to do it is working as a community, as not seeing each other separate anymore, but as a whole community, the whole collective, it has to be that way.
Yeah. Anything you want to add? Yeah, it's one of the things for me too that really resonates about Vilcabamba. It's like you've got all these people who really do have good hearts and the right intentions, and everyone's kind of playing their role or adding their piece, and which is really cool. I think of someone like Leslie who, I guess made you aware of Vilcabamba and you came through her. She's like one of my favorite people here. She's this sort of medicine woman who is doing some sort of ceremony like almost every day. She's doing different ceremonies, and it's beautiful to just watch.
Yes.
She's like an example of someone bringing their piece, like their sort of solution, part of the solution to the
and she has so much experience as well. She's been working with shamans for so many years, and wow, her journey is also really amazing. And she was actually the one insisting me, calling me, come on, you should come to Vilcabamba, you should come visit me. Yeah. She was always inviting me, but I never really found the space to do it until I had like this dark night of the soul, when you're like fed up with everything, and you have to make a choice in your life. You carry on like that, or so for me, it was difficult to make the decision because I have to let go of many things. I had a whole life. Yeah. I had a business happening, but not. I had this hole, that will never be filled with anything. Whatever I was doing, I always had this emptiness inside of me. But when I came here, I feel that I don't have that emptiness anymore. I feel whole. I feel happy. I've experienced a lot of joy living here. And wow, I'm happy. I'm happier.
Well, I didn't know this was going to be such a profound and deep conversation, but this was great. I really enjoyed, hearing you guys share.
And for us, being able to do something that we love, which is cooking. I've done cooking before. We're gonna be working together because Gloria, who was working with us, she's gonna be away for a month. So we're gonna have to be working together inside and out here. So it's gonna be challenging, but we were made for this.
That you know how to do that Peruvian seafood. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yes. Yeah. We will get there. I mean, we're still young. We have 3-4 weeks, and we have a lot.
We could get the growing pains, like everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we have a lot of things to share.
Yeah, good. No, well, we're all looking forward to trying all the different creations. Guys, if you're ever in town, Sol Bistro, come check these guys out. Say hello. Try the amazing food. Personally, I'm a big fan of the fish and chips. It is really, really good. Highly recommend it. All right, any last words before we wrap?
Yeah, we want to invite the community to stop by, try our food. We have amazing promotions every day. We have specials. We're always innovating. We're always changing stuff around. We are really open also to suggestions. We're always taking suggestions. Because we're in the starting phase of the restaurant, so we still have this flexibility to adjust things around. So we want to invite the community to stop by and see what we can do of it.
All right. Well, guys, thank you both for taking time. I enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you again soon. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel right here. Check out our real estate channel right here for content that you will absolutely love. Click right here. And if you want to know how we got here, click here.